Now we're dropping down to the first bracket, or the first round rather, of the losers bracket. This is going to be on the Crimson feud taking place between Kodryagny and Armister. I think we're going to call him Cody. He is purple, he is UEF, and he is on the right. On the left-hand side, we've got Armister as Cybern in the lovely maroon color. A little bit of an off base for Cybern, but in the same ballpark. That's going to be first land factory for mass extractors, I would hope, followed by a mad assist on the hydro power plants. Of course, Crimson Feud originally designed as a 2 versus 2 map. You're going to get 2 hydros. You're going to get 10 mass extractors pretty much guaranteed to you unless you fail epically at raid prevention. And that is going to give you a massive leg up on production. The hydro lets you run 2 land factories for free, and the second hydro lets you run another 5. So that's 7 land factories that you have to build right off the bat with a minimal amount of T1 power to boost up your ever-increasing amount of mass as you expand out and get the reclaim. So that extra hydro does come into play as a massive boon to your eco. Looks like the hydro is under assistance. We've got hydro being assisted by 2 engineers on the other side as well. That is a good recipe for massive power stall. You'll notice that Cody has skipped the 3rd mass extractor, which is going to give him a bit better of a chance at not stalling. And on the south side, Armister is actually doing rather well for himself as well, seeing as he didn't assist the power generator build with his engineers, which is what drops you into the negatories on that build order. You've got a Mantis with a scout moving out to the right-hand edge and an engineer to the left. Of course, there are a few wreckages here worth a couple hundred mass apiece, and then on the right-hand side, the same except reversed. So that is 2 227s versus 3 162s, which actually does come out to pretty much the same amount of mass, but just in case it's not exactly the same, it is mirrored on the flip. So there are 4 mass extractors for the taking, then 2 close by extractor points, and then this in the center is a little bit more of a boondoggle to hold, but it is possible to keep that in your grips. Basically, Crimson Feud degenerates into T1 land spam to the nth degree, and then at some point you move to T2. A lot of times there is a gun commander in there somewhere. Excuse me, just had to move that thing. Usually there is a gun commander in there somewhere, sometimes a T2 commander, but for the most part, most of the times that I watch this map, it is decided by the T1 phase. It is a small map after all. Armister dropping a couple more T1 power generators, although he is overflowing N+6 and building his hydro. So if I were him, I would just be building those land factories without bothering for the extra power. And we've got a few Mantis moving out to the front edge. I do sincerely love the raiding party that's over on the other edge. It's not going to do much damage, but it will poke and prod and disturb the play of the other player. Cody is now moving into his expansion with the ACU, a guaranteed grab at this point in the game, as there aren't enough tanks in existence on the field to even hope to kill your ACU. Armister dropping land factories number 4 and number 5. Mr. Rowie saying yes, it is a 5K map, so mostly T1, fair point. That is going to get shut down though. Although this tank, while struggling to kill an engineer, is in fact point blanking a mass extractor, which has strategically placed itself in front of his face, acting as a meat shield for the engineer. Lovely, lovely. Engie might, oh my goodness, that was enough time for a Mantis to respond and kill the striker, although the engineer may still fall. Oh, 1 HP and nope. The Hydra was meat shielding for the Snoop. That was an exercise in horrible unit placement, but the bomber will come in and finally end the agony of that engineer. Oh my goodness, the saga of the hero Engie is now over. We got Mantis on the front line, pegging that T1 mass extractor right there. It would appear that Cody either has a mod or has queued the T2 upgrade of every single mass extractor is in his entire base. I hope for his own sake that he doesn't unpause any of those. Oh my goodness, he's actually using Eco Manager. Why are you using Eco Manager? That is not beneficial in the T1 phase. That's not beneficial in 1v1s for the most part. Also, borderline cheaty UI mods. Shame on you, Cody. Shame on you. But Armister is doing just fine. He is holding a majority of the map control in the center. He's got his ACU on the north side. He's got 29 mass income to 33 from Cody, and while he is a little bit behind on power, he does have a total of 5 land factories already built, with number 6 and number 7 going down. We do have 6 up from Cody. Actually, number 8 as well. And number 9 finished. So yes, Armister does have superior production capabilities to what Cody is able to field. You'll notice that there is still a bit of reclaim on the outside edge. This in the main base has not been taken at all. Armister is borderline overflowing mass though, so we can forgive him for that. Mass Extractor is going to go down yet again as the Mantis clean up this little squabble here. No, they are going to retreat, even though they have superior numbers. That is a bit of an oddity, and Run By on the north is going to be just barely killed off by the tanks in that quadrant. Okay, map has settled down somewhat. We do have a Medusa on this edge. Ah, T1 point defense. That's what finished that off. Just barely finished by a half HP engineer. A valiant NG indeed, nearly the match of the hero NG of the southern edge. T1 bomber coming in to wipe out a handful of T1 tanks and deal some good damage before getting knocked down by mobile anti-air. Looks like Cody is wading into the fight with his ACU. Of course, the ACU is not going to be capable of killing all of the units here. They will kill him, but with the steady flow of units moving in from his home base, he might just have a chance. I see a T2 Mass Extractor popping up. There is a T2 Mass Extractor for Armister as well. Armister still expanding his production capabilities. He is going to leave quite a substantial chunk of mass on Cody's side of the map though. If that gets reclaimed and cycled into more units, then Cody will be in a good spot. But I don't see Cody going for any mass expansion of his build power. He's simply assisting one of these to T2. An interesting choice, although Strikers flooding the map is going to give him a pretty good chance at overwhelming his opponent. Armister dropping T1 power on the outside edge. Check out what his eco is looking like. Oh my, that is a furious power stall, and he is building power with way too many entities at once. I dare say that he would not be power stalling if he weren't building with 60 freaking build power on P-Gens. And there, he finally came out ahead now that he is ferociously mass stalled. Not a good position to be in. It looks like some of the eco that I would do. And while his eco is struggling, his opponent catches up on production, though he has more T1 factories. If they don't have the eco to feed them, then you're not going to come out ahead. Thankfully, there is a T1 point defense there, but the Medusa has spotted it. Intel is had on that spot. That Medusa will slowly but surely, with many misses in between, knock out that T1 PD, and still not a hit on the T1. Come on, you can do it. Ah, there we go. Finally a hit, and the stun on the point defense. Oh, I like this. Cody is actually dropping the outside plateaus. That's going to get him another 4 mass extractors. So even if he loses this base, he will technically still be on even footing with Armister for eco. Although now that I say that, he is missing the mass extractors up on the front end that Armister does have built. So it may not be completely even. Cody at 43, Armister at 48 income, thanks to 2 T2 mass extractors. And it looks like even more build power is getting created on that edge. Armister stalling for 11 mass to 36 mass, depending on his reclaim capabilities, is going for the gun upgrade. I knew that we would see that at some point this game. Is that an assist? The Lobos have assisted the Mass Extractor, making a perfect little ring around them. Not sure exactly what strategic benefit is to be had there, but it is happening nonetheless. Cody is going for the gun upgrade as well on the left hand, or actually the right hand if it's speaking as a human, but the left hand facing him. That gun upgrade is going to do quite well, seeing as his opponent is doing the same. But the intrusion into the base is a hard thing to take. No Mass Extractors as of yet have gone down, but he's lost the point defense. And he is going to lose some engineers on the backside edge, I think. Mongoose out of the base. What on earth are you doing building Mongoose? There's a mobile flak. There's a couple of T2 engineers, which are now building point events. Those are Sparkies, in fact. I have no earthly idea as to why he is going for T2 point events. He should be going for Strikers. Strikers will be able to tank these Mantis and do immense good for this side, but he is simply not doing it, and I do not understand. The Nano Regen is going to be a brutal tool on that ACU, giving him vast amounts of HP compared to his Cybern compatriot, and that is also a finished gun upgrade. So basically this is going to regen 50 HP per tick as opposed to 15, which means that every 2 seconds it effectively halves the DPS of a standard commander, reduces by 25% the damage from a gun commander, in addition to the ACU having more HP to begin with than his Cybern counterpart. So this is going to get interesting indeed. We've got fewer units, but a stronger commander from this edge, and oh good lord, that is a beautiful thing indeed. A T1 point defense, well, now it's just targeting the ground, but a T1 point defense built on the edge that's able to kill off engineers, Mass Extractors, and whatnot. I'd love to see the same thing from the other edge, or possibly even drop a Medusa on that ledge. That would be a beautiful, beautiful thing for denying access to the corners. Mongoose showing their weakness. They have relatively low HP, although 1200. I forgot, it's equilibrium, so nothing makes sense like it should. Mongoose get 1200 HP because people who are too lazy to micro play equilibrium. Okay, so Mongoose are probably a better thing to build. Wow, alright, well, let's gloss over that. Armister is now moving up with his ACU. That is going to engage in full frontal combat with the units on this edge. I do believe that he has auto overcharge turned on, because otherwise I don't think you'd see someone overcharging a single T1 unit out on the edge. ACU is moving up to engage Armister. T2 point defense from the back is going to provide some good backup, and Mongoose are engaging on the other edge as well to try and stop these Mantis from entering the base. Do these guys have their traditional grenade launchers, or is it strictly the Gatling cannon? As of yet, I have not seen a single grenade fire. There it is. There's the grenade. So they didn't remove that secondary weapon. 60 regen per tick on that ACU. I was wrong about the total amount, but 21 on Armister's commander, thanks to a veterancy. He also bumped up 1000 HP, which is good for him. Cody planting overcharges as he can and relying on this T2 point defense to back up his commander. Armister making a critical overstep there. What are you doing on the front? No! Back up! You have more units! You have complete map control! What are you doing with your 5000 HP commander on the front line? Okay, there we go. T1 units flooding back across. The Mongoose laying down fire across the front end. That is going to be enough to stall the onslaught from Armister. However, the map loss is high. Cody is now reduced just to his home base. He does have a couple of T2 Mass Extractors, 3 to be precise. But that is going to be nothing in the face of the 4 T2 Mass Extractors and uttering complete domination of the territory by Armister. 57 mass per tick to 39. And the Mantis keep a poking at the outside edges of the base. T1 Bomber kind of harassing that ACU with a minuscule amount of damage. 3,000 HP remaining on it. It might not actually be a bad idea to continue the bombing. 2,900 HP. But there are mobile anti-air now out in the world, so I don't think that any great threat can be posed to that ACU. Cody has just bought himself a little bit of breathing room, but I would like to point out that these triads are most likely a waste of mass. They only can defend the very front line. You're ceding map control to your opponent. And also they can be stunned by Medusa, and also you can't move them around to try to protect other edges of your base. So I think this is going to end up being a losing strategy for Cody, but what it does buy him temporarily is a vast field of reclaim on the front end of his base. Taking for granted that you're losing out on some of the mass due to overcharges obliterating the wreckage of the units that they kill, at least at this tier in the game. Mongeese shredding these Mantis. I would like to see, let's go Q in right here. Mongeese are 280, Pillars are 200, 1,500 HP versus 1,250. That is going to have 18 range. Wait, what? 33. Oh, okay. The grenade launcher is very short ranged. That's weird. 33 range versus 23 with 120 damage versus 15 DPS. That can't be right. 60 and 15. Most of the damage is in the grenade launcher. What the hell is that balance? That is the weirdest thing. Alright, so the Mongeese, once you get a large number of them, they kind of operate like just standard assault bots. They're not ranged assault bots in reality, because they don't have their main DPS front-loaded. See, the main idea behind the Mongoose, it is a unit that requires a bit of skill to use. It's low HP, so it dies easily. It's fast, so you can kite, and it has massively front-loaded DPS on an inaccurate grenade launcher, so that you can rush forward and strike, and then back up for your reloading cycle. It punishes your opponent heavily, but you have to have the skill to properly micro them, and they are susceptible to things like T1 bombers and tanks moving into their range. In this, they're just kind of a boring standard attack unit. It's balanced out the intrigue of the game. I don't know. I know that a lot of people would be correct in assuming that I have something against Equilibrium just kind of as a grudge, but this is one of those examples where I genuinely think the balance is objectively worse, and it also makes the game more boring. Okay, Rowie, the Mongoose also doesn't miss anymore. Yeah, I'm seeing that. The projectile speed has been massively increased. It's kind of like Ravager now, Ravager Fire. It's actually faster than Ravager Fire. Oh, alright, well, now that I've had my rant, we can go back and look at what's developed on this map, such as T2 from Armister and T2 Air that is now bringing a Corsair to bear on that 5 vet commander. 18,000 HP coupled with 90 regen. That is a TAC missile. Where is it? Right there. TAC missile planting shots on the air HQ. And that is a T3 land HQ coming into being. Taking a look at the Mongoose, 500 HP. So the same thing has not been done to the Mongoose, or to the Hoplite, as has been done to the Mongoose. Let's queue over here for a second. We can see what's going on there with the Vipers and whatnot. That is going to be Hoplite, 200 cost, 270 damage, 45 DPS on a long firing cycle with 36 range. So the Hoplite is basically untouched. The Hoplite still functions in exactly the same way. The Mongoose has just turned into some weird, crazy mainline assault unit. And as we're saying here, Mongoose spam might actually be preferable to Striker spam. Especially once you get to larger numbers. Weird. Okay, Armister has lost his T2 Air HQ. He is now losing his units on the front. He has almost got a T3 HQ, but he is now going to lose his entire right flank to Mongoose coming in. I can't believe that this is happening. He might actually lose. Oh, good lord, dude. You gotta get a brick. Please don't go Loyalist. Okay, you got a brick. So the brick will be able to range the Mongoose, or at least match them in range, and it will be a much, much heavier unit capable of dealing the damage necessary to wipe out these hordes of Mongoose. Armister knocked down to 46 mass per tick, and that is going to leave 100-ish on Cody's dial. Although that would only be about 61 plus reclaim now that I'm paying attention. Armister moving out to the front with that gun upgraded commander. Brick is out of the factory, knocking down, oh, that damage though. Knocking down those Mongoose. The Mongoose still do outrange the ACU, but the ACU will be able to get in for another overcharge. Come on, drop the 3, overcharge that, no, crap. All right, there's 2 overcharges. And the brick will knock out the remainder in the rear. And Armister will come out victorious, leaving him with a ton of reclaim on this side of the map. Rowie pinging. The DPS for Mongoose is bugged in game. It is actually 45, not 15 and 30. Okay, so 45 DPS on the Mongoose. Okay, things grow weirder and weirder. So if the damage is actually 45, then there's literally no reason to build Strikers. The Mongoose have almost equivalent DPS on much larger range with slightly less HP. They basically made tier 2 Percivals. Why do you need tier 2 Percivals? The Striker was already a stupidly strong unit. I don't understand. Cody is now being forced to back up. He is under quite a bit of fire from a brick, but that brick might be overcharged. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. You can do it. No, he is going to have to back up. Mongoose swarming in from the outside edge. This is going to be close. Armister taking damage. Cody backed out with 9,000 HP remaining. Mongoose were focus fired on the ACU instead of the brick. The anti-air has gone down, and those will be backing up. We've got a shield generator in the middle of the map, and Mongoose probing the rear end of the base once again. Those are going to delete a T2 mass extractor on that front line, and then move into the back where they're able to do some devastating damage on the T3 units moving out of the base. Maybe the HQ is next, I know not. But Armister is going to have to retreat nonetheless to kill these units in the rear of his base. Well, that was a little bit of a back and forth there, and now neither player really has map control because all of the units are centered in the midpoint and nobody is really building anything on the outside edge. There's no engineer queues, there's no unit queues. I don't understand what is going on with this game. This is the height of stupidity. All right, tac missiles incoming. It's gonna take 3 tacs to be able to kill this factory. There's number 2, Armister. Maybe you should stand your ACU directly in front of the factory to try and guard. Oh my goodness, he actually did it. Oh, tac missile to the face of the ACU. For no reason whatsoever except for the fact that he had to build that T1 mass extractor right there. He did a brink and walked face first into attack, And now the Mongoose are closing in. They will be able to eliminate that low HP commander. There are no more T3 units. There is no more air to deny these T1 bombers. And that, my friends, is all she wrote. There goes Armister as he keeps evading death by a hair. There we go. The game is over. Wowzers. Okay, that was a game. I think we're gonna leave it at that. That was a game. Things that we can deduce from this match. Equilibrium has very weird balance and has made changes for no apparent reason, therefore making the game more boring. Yeah, let's stick with that. All right, I'm gonna bail on this game, then we're going to go and find out what is taking place in the next match. That is gonna wrap everything up for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like and share it with someone. If you want to support the channel, catch the streams, or join the Discord, check out the links in the description. Thank you all for being at least partially insane, and I will see you in the next one.